Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 5090 O-Level Biology, Syllabus 2023. And this is the new component, which is coordination in plants plus one question on human nutrition. Now, coming to the first question on coordination in plants. Plants are sensitive to light. Figure 1.1 shows a sequence of diagrams for two young plant seedlings. The seedlings were first grown in pots with light from all directions and placed into boxes. Seedling A was placed in a box with light entering from one side only. Seedling B was placed in a box with no light. Have a look at this. Complete figure 1.1. Complete figure 1.1 by drawing seedling A and seedling B in the boxes to show the expected direction of their growth after 1 week. So how would we look at them? They're looking like this, but after 1 week you have to draw this in the diagram. How would they look like? Similarly, the same one after 1 week, what would it look like? Right? And this is for 2 marks. So you had to draw, it was very simple. You had to draw seedling A, well, you had to draw it the same. This much was they already there. So there would be further growth, it would be like this. I'm not very good at drawing, sorry. Similarly, how was B going to grow? It was going to grow just taller. It was already this much. So then it would grow a little taller and then it would just go have the leaves like that. So seedling A would be bending towards light, and seedling A would be taller the shoot than the original, and it will be going just straight up. So this was only for 2 marks. Then coming to the next part, I'll read it and I want you to pause the video here and do the question first. Write your answer on a piece of paper and then see that how you're going to do it. Plants are also sensitive to gravity. Define the term sensitivity. Explain the role of plant hormones in gravitropism. There's 4 marks. Gravitropism enables plant to survive in their environment. Explain how gravitropism enables a plant to survive. Please pause the video here and write the answers first and then continue with watching the video. Define the term sensitivity. What is sensitivity? The ability to detect stimuli in the internal or the external environment and then to make appropriate responses. Like there's too much light, you come out in the from a dark room, you come out in the light and suddenly then you close your eyes. There's too much light entering the eye and too much light can damage the retina, not the eye. So define the term sensitivity. The ability to detect stimuli, internal or external, either internally when your blood glucose level rises or externally when there's too much light or the room is too hot, and then to make appropriate responses. Next part 2, explain the role of plant hormones in gravitropism. What are the plant hormones? Auxin. Auxin is a plant hormone. It is made in the root or the shoot tips and oxygen diffuses through the plant. Then auxin is unequally distributed. Then auxin stimulates cell elongation. Then shoots grow away from gravity or roots grow towards gravity. So this is the role of plant hormones in gravitropism. So gravitropism is only about gravity that we're going to be talking about. To explain the role of the plant hormones in gravitropism, there are many points. You can have given me about 7 points, but any 4 of these and you would have got your 4 out of 4. Auxin is a plant hormone. Auxin is made in the root and shoot tips only. Oxygen diffuses through the plant. Auxin is unequally distributed. Auxin stimulates cell elongation. The word is cell elongation, not cell division. Please remember that. And roots will grow towards gravity and shoots will grow away from gravity. So which will be positive tropic response and a negative tropic response. So this is how you will answer this question. Then part 3 of the question, gravitropism enables plants to survive in their environment. Explain how gravitropism enables a plant to survive. How does it enable to plant to survive? You see, the roots will anchor the plant to the soil. The plants growing down are more likely to reach water and the minerals. Then the shoots growing up are more likely to reach light, and more light absorbed, more photosynthesis, more glucose, more energy, and more growth. Similarly, the plants have a better access to pollinators, because you see, pollinators are required for fertilization and fruit and seed formation. So if no pollinators, then there's going to be no fertilization, no fruits, no seeds. So how will the continuity of that plant take place? How will it reproduce if it only reproduces sexually, and it's only sexual reproduction by which then seeds fall and the plants, more plants grow in that environment? So roots anchor the plant, roots more likely to reach water and minerals because it's growing down deeper into the soil where there is water and minerals. Shoots growing up are more likely to reach light, and therefore the leaves, large surface area of the leaves are going to absorb more light. Then shoots have flowers, and flowers will have better access to pollinators. If the flowers were going into in the soil, how would they access the pollinators? Pollinators are what? Wind pollination and insect pollination. So these are the two methods of pollination that can only take place when then the shoot grows upwards into the air away from the soil. Part C, reflexes in animals are also an example of sensitivity. Describe how reflexes in animals differ from sensitivity in plants. So you could have said reflexes are respond faster, reflexes use electrical impulses, or they use neurons, or it's the nervous system which is involved, and the reflexes are shorter lived, and reflexes are not a growth response. So how sensitivity in plants and reflexes in animals is how you will explain these two things to them. Then it comes to the part two of the question. The pupil reflex is an example of a reflex that occurs in the eye. The eye is a sense organ. Define the term sense organ. 2 marks. Group of receptor cells responding to specific stimuli. A group of receptor cells like sense organ eye. So it's got the receptor cells in the retina which detect what? Which detect light. So responding to specific stimuli. Similarly, ears. They have receptor cells which respond to sound, and that's how you can hear. You see, when you're talking about a question in which they're asking you to compare reflexes in animals differ from sensitivity in plants, so then you talk about one, the first one, which is in the question. Reflexes in animals are what? They respond very fast. You touch something hot, you withdraw your hands within seconds. You're not going to wait. Say, is it very hot or less hot? You're just going to withdraw your hand. Then reflexes use impulse, neurons, nerves are involved. The central nervous system is involved in that. So it's not a question of, plant growth hormones, and reflexes are very short-lived. Like for instance, you touch something hot and you withdraw your hand and then you immediately straighten your hand. So it's not for a long time. Yes, certain of course would be things like if we talk of hormones, then the hormones are long acting and short acting. There are some hormones like insulin are short acting, but some hormones like growth hormone makes you tall, but then you remain tall. You don't become short after that. So, I mean, that's a different thing which I'm talking about, but still, I just wanted to revise that with you. Reflexes are short-lived. You withdraw your hand from you touch something hot, and then again you move your arm as normally as possible. Then reflexes are not a growth response. They do not respond, they're not growing like auxins cause growth towards light of the stem or the shoot, or the roots grow towards gravity. So it's a growth response. Then the pupil reflex is an example of a reflex that occurs in the eye. Define the term sense organ. So what are sense organs? The eye is a sense organ, the ear is a sense organ. So they are groups of receptor cells and they respond to specific stimuli. Now the second question is, two identical potted plants were used to investigate plant responses. Plant A was placed on a clinostat that continually rotated. Plant B was not rotated. Both plants were then placed on their sides and kept in the dark. Figure 4.1 shows the two plants at the start of the experiment and after 7 days. So box to exclude light at the start, and then after 7 days, what has happened? Plant A and plant B. State the name of the response shown by the shoot of plant B. Now you can see here that the plant A is attached to a clinostat, and a clinostat is continuously rotating it. So the effect of gravity is being nullified because each side of the shoot is getting the effect of gravity. Normally a plant is just exposed, one side is exposed to gravity. Not all sides are exposed to gravity. So the effect of gravity is being cancelled. But in the one in plant B, you can see now what is happening is that as it is placed horizontally, it is slowly growing like this. And this was like this here. And now it is slowly, it further growth that is occurring is the shoot is turning upwards towards, because it's not being rotated, because shoots are negatively gravitropic or geotropic. So state the name of the response shown by the shoot of plant B. This is gravitropism, because there's no question of light here. We are investigating the effect of gravity. Gravitropism. Then explain the reason for constantly rotating plant A. Why were we rotating plant A? Negating the effect of gravitational pull, and gravity is only on one side of the plant. Also, it is used as a control to compare with the response of plant B. So you always use a control. Control is always for comparison. C for control, C for comparison. State the name of the plant hormone that causes the response, that is auxin. So you just wrote auxin and you got a mark for that. Then explain how the plant hormone causes the response of plant B. Now pause the video here and write your answer and then check the answer. How the plant hormone responds is auxin is produced at the tip. It diffuses away from the tip to the stem or the shoot or the plant and moves on the lower side of the stem, so stimulates cell elongation, and the stem or the plant grows or turns upwards. Then we come to the next part. Seeds germinate in the soil. The seedlings that grow from seeds show the same response as shown by plant B. Explain the advantage of this response to the survival of the seedling. That means you plant the seeds and then a little baby plant starts to grow. And of course this cotyledon will finish. So only this little bit of the cotyledon will be left. Now, how is this going to help? The main thing is that the seedling is going to reach the light for photosynthesis, and then from the air it's going to get carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and it's going to get oxygen for respiration. And as the plant grows tall and tall and tall, then it develops the flowers on it. And the flowers are for what? Flowers are exposed to wind or insects for this pollination, while the roots are going to grow downwards. And if they grow downwards, they will reach water and minerals and they will anchor the plant in the soil. So you have to give me all that biology now. So the name of the response, gravitropism, and the reason for constantly rotating is negate the effect of gravity, used as a control to compare with plant B, and name of the hormone is auxin. So how the plant hormone causes the response in plant B? Number one, auxin is produced in the tip and then it diffuses away from the tip, or you could set down the stem or the shoot or the plant, and then collects on the lower side of the stem. So this is the stem, so it will collect on the lower side of the stem, and this will cause cell elongation. That's why this will grow up like this. So stimulates the lower side is there and then causes more cell elongation, so the cells become longer, and this will result in the stem growing away from gravity. So generally, if you know biology well, you can answer this question because it's very simple. Why would seedlings want to grow upwards? The stem, or why should the shoot of the seedling grow upwards, is basically to reach light for photosynthesis, to reach air where there's carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, to reach air for oxygen for respiration, so that the stem grows tall. So flowers are exposed for wind or insect pollination because pollination can be either wind or insect pollination. And the roots will grow downwards to reach water and ions, and it will also anchor the plant in the soil. So please remember this very, very, very typical biological English, which I want you all to memorize. You must, in fact, learn it and sort of rote learning. I mean, you just ratify it. You'll have to really memorize it to really able to write it in the exam. So you, though you do understand it, but if you don't know the correct biological English, well, you can't write this. One question which was remaining from the previous video on human nutrition, question number 4, the alimentary canal is adapted for chemical and mechanical digestion. Explain how chemical digestion differs from mechanical digestion. So how chemical digestion differs? Chemical digestion is what? Is a breakdown of molecules, is breaking down bonds using enzymes insoluble to soluble. While on the other hand, mechanical digestion is only the breakdown of particles. That's not the breakdown of molecules, the breakdown of particles to increase the surface area for chemical digestion or to mix or churn the contents. Like there's physical digestion or mechanical digestion in your mouth with the effect of the teeth which chew the food or which break down the food into smaller particles. So difference between mechanical and chemical digestion was a very good question. So chemical digestion is breakdown of molecules, the other one is breakdown of particles, this breaking bonds using enzymes insoluble to soluble. But in mechanical, it's breakdown of particles to increase the surface area for chemical digestion or in order to mix or churn the food. Then figure 5.1 is a drawing of the alimentary canal. And they've got all this labeled for you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that. And then they're asking you, table 5.1 shows 4 functions of the alimentary canal. Complete the table by naming the part of the system that carries out each of the following, each of the functions, using the letters from figure 5.1 to identify the part of the system named. One row has been completed for you. So most soluble food is absorbed into the blood. Where? In the small intestine. And where is the small intestine here in the diagram? It's E. Then it says indigestible food is egested. That's the anus. And what is that? That is F. And then it says hydrochloric acid is produced. Where is that done? In the stomach. And where is that? That's C. Then protease, lipase, and amylase are produced. That's where? Pancreas. And where is the pancreas? That's D. Okay, then coming to C part of the question. Some people develop gallstones made of cholesterol that accumulate in the gallbladder and the bile duct. Gallstones block the flow of bile. Explain how gallstones can affect the digestion of fat. Well, I think you've done this in a previous question as well. No bile secreted, no bile salts enter the small intestine, so no emulsification of fats, so no increased surface area of fat for lipase, so it will become slower or difficult for the digestion of fats. No or less bile released or secreted, so less bile salts enter the small intestine, so less emulsification of fats. So there is be less increased surface area of the fat for lipase to work on, and there will be slower digestion of fats. Now coming to the last part of the question, cholesterol can also accumulate in the walls of the coronary arteries. Explain the effects that this might have. Now, naturally, if cholesterol deposits is going to result in coronary heart disease, or you can say a heart attack, or a cardiac arrest, and this is going to result in reduced blood flow in the artery or the arteries, and this is going to result in atherosclerosis or damaged arteries. Then the blood clot can cause thrombosis or a thrombus or an aneurysm. And this narrowing of the blood vessels can cause high blood pressure, so reduced supply of oxygen to the heart muscle, and the muscle will start respiring anaerobically, and that is not going to be a very good thing. So, coronary heart disease, blockage of the artery, damaged artery wall, causing a blood clot or a thrombosis, causes high blood pressure and reduced supply of oxygen to the heart muscle, and muscle respires anaerobically, which is not a very good thing. You see, a portion of the heart muscle will die, and this, of course, results in ineffective pumping of the heart, and that will result depends how much area of the heart has been damaged. If a large part of the heart is damaged, then of course it's a massive heart attack, and the person does not survive that heart attack. Now you can see that the coronary artery arises from the aorta. As soon as the aorta comes out, the coronary artery arises from that, and it's the right coronary artery, and then there's the left coronary artery. And you can see how there's a plaque in the artery wall. There's a fat being deposited in the wall of the artery, and that, of course, results in narrowing of the lumen. And then this is another diagram which showing you the plaque, and you can see the artery wall, and you can see the normal heart and the artery, and then you can see this plaque and a narrowed coronary artery. And these are the coronary arteries on the top of the heart, on the surface of the heart, which are going to supply the muscle of the heart with oxygen and glucose, because the cells of the heart muscle must respire and release energy. So this is a narrowed coronary artery, and this is a normal coronary artery. So artery with a plaque build up, and you can see how it's becoming narrow and narrow. And slowly a time will come when it totally get blocked. Then this part of the heart muscle will not get any oxygen and will not get any glucose. So that part of the heart muscle will die. Now, if it's a very small portion, then it's okay. Even then, it's not okay. But then when we say somebody has a massive heart attack, means a large part of the heart muscle has now not receiving glucose and oxygen. So those cells will die. And that is not a very happy event. Now another diagram showing you this, how there is narrowing and how the fat is deposited in the, you see the fat is deposited in the wall of the artery, and these are called coronary arteries. So I just wanted to explain this to you so that you all know what you're talking about, and if there's any question on this, you can easily understand what is the essence of it. You see, if there's a blockage here, then this part of the heart muscle will not receive, but because there is a lot of networking of branches, so you see there's not just one vessel, there are many vessels coming out of it. So it has to be this vessel here, which could be blocked here. So a very small area of the heart may be affected. But of course, if it's a major artery here, then it's a big problem. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe, and please do leave your comments so that if there's anything else you want me to make videos on, these are just these 2-3 weeks left before the exams, and we can do something to help you all out. Thank you very much.